Okay, today we're checking out the Velowave Swift M electric bike. So on first glance, I think the Velowave Swift M is a really unique looking bike. You have the dark green and mint green colorway. And yeah, it just looks pretty stealthy. It, doesn't really stand out as an electric bike. You got the integrated battery over here and the mid-drive motor. So if you're riding this through the city, I don't think anyone would think that it's an electric bike. So now let's just walk through all the features of the Velowave Swift M. Here we have a 27.5 inch tire. Looks like an all-terrain tire from Kenda. You got an integrated front fender, as well as a front suspension fork with the lockout and the preload adjustment. We also have a bright integrated headlight. Here we have a standard MTB handlebars. Got the ergonomic rubber grip, left-hand thumb throttle, display controls, left-mounted color LCD display. Got a bell, Shimano 8-speed shifter, and then you got the trigger shifter over here where you could use your thumb and your index finger to shift. Over here we have a 48 volt 15 amp hour removable battery. Again, very stealthy. It's integrated right inside of the frame. I kind of like the design of this battery because the trim of the battery is just a small sliver on the side of the bike. Now, the standout feature of the Swift M is this 500 watt mid-drive motor. It's encased within the frame. This also has a torque sensor, so when you're pedaling, it just gives you a natural boost of power. It'll be calibrated to how you pedal. This is really meant for people who want an e-bike that doesn't really feel like an e-bike. It just gives you the power when you need it, and it's not just blasting volts into the motor. Here's a look at the Shimano 8-speed derailleur. We got the integrated rear rack over here. It says it can hold up to 55 pounds. We also have an integrated taillight over here, nice and bright. I don't think it has brake functionality. Nope, it doesn't. So it just stays on, but that's fine. Got the integrated rear fender. Another interesting feature is that it looks like you have a removable axle for the rear tire. I've never seen that before. Obviously, we have one on the front, but not for the rear. So that's kind of unique. And here's a look at the Shimano hydraulic disc brakes on the front. And here's a very comfortable and wide saddle seat. You got a little bit of cushioning. And again, you have this glossy black trim. And the total weight of this bike is about 60 pounds. So it's actually surprisingly lightweight, even though it has a mid-drive motor. Usually mid-drive motors are pretty heavy. All right, now that we've gone over all the features, let's take the Velowave Swift M for its first ride.
With its unique colorway and well-balanced frame geometry, the Velowave Swift M offers a mix of style and performance that's hard to ignore. At 60 pounds, it's surprisingly lightweight. It also has a decent 500-watt mid-drive motor with a torque sensor that provides a very responsive ride. This combination feels natural and smooth, adapting to your pedaling input seamlessly. The motor responds well to various terrain and your riding style, but performs best on city streets. It has a top speed of 24 miles per hour and a range between 28 to 80 miles, depending on throttle input, rider weight, and terrain. The Swift has a 48-volt, 15 amp hour removable battery, giving you the flexibility to charge it separately from the bike. The Shimano 8-speed derailleur and hydraulic disc brakes offer reliable shifting and stopping power, adding to the overall safety and performance of the bike. Plus, the integrated headlight and taillight, along with front and rear fenders and an integrated rear rack, means lots of functionality for commuting. However, there are a few things worth mentioning. The lack of a rear suspension shock might make rougher terrain less comfortable, so if you're planning to ride off-road, you might feel the bumps a bit more, and the long crank arms can scrape the ground when turning at sharp angles, which could be jarring. And while the bike performs well on flat streets, it does have a tendency to overheat when climbing hills or riding at higher speeds for extended periods.
Okay, first ride with the Velowave Swift M. So I'm gonna hop right on here. Now, as you can see, I can't flat foot the bike, but I can sit on it with one leg on the pedal and the other one on the ground. We'll start on pedal assist level 1, no throttle, and let's just get right into it. And a very natural pedaling cadence. So pedaling feels really smooth, really natural. Feels just like a regular bike. I love how the sensor is calibrated. It's not just pushing volts into the motor, it's actually pushing power based on the very sensitive movements of my legs. And it gives you just a sense that you're riding a regular e-bike, which is really nice. Let's bump it up to pedal assist level 3. Okay, It's a little bit more power, pedaling a little bit harder. Plenty of power, plenty of torque off the line, just from pedaling alone. That feels really, really good. Great if you're like sprinting through the city. Now let's just give it a little bit of throttle. So we're mixing the throttle with the pedaling, and that feels really good. Let's do throttle only. That feels nice. You definitely hear the motor kick in. Now I do notice that the cranks are just a little bit long. So if you're doing like a lean, your pedals will definitely scrape the ground. Look how close they are to the ground. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're pedaling and when you're turning, to be careful about scraping the pedal. Let's bump it up to the highest mode, which is sport mode. And full throttle, full pedaling, tons of power. That feels really good. Yeah, the motor is super quiet for a mid-drive motor. You know, hub motors are traditionally a lot quieter, but this mid-drive is really, really nice. I think they're using their own, maybe proprietary mid-drive motor here. Yeah, I have no complaints with the ride so far. Now, it does feel pretty comfortable. Obviously, we only have the front fork suspension, and that feels good. So on the grass, you get a little bit of front suspension here, so it's not entirely uncomfortable, but it is very, very bumpy. Probably not really meant for off-roading at all. Saddle is somewhat comfortable, but yeah, this is meant for the pavement. Probably not meant for off-roading, but you can do it if you need to. Pop off here. Okay, now let's just do a quick brake test. I'll go all the way over here. Let's test the brakes. Okay, and so yeah, plenty of stopping power with the Shimano hydraulic disc brakes. Yeah, I'm really pleased with this bike. I think it's a great value for what it is. I think the aesthetics are really what drew me to this bike. I mean, all the welds over here are smooth. You know, the colorway, the mint green with the dark green, I think that's really nice. I think that really stands out. The mid-drive motor was doing its thing, very quiet. The calibration of the torque sensor just feels really good. So I think this is really ideal for people who want an electric bike that doesn't feel like an electric bike, that rides like a regular bike, especially people coming from maybe a fixie bike or maybe a mountain bike. They want to have a little bit of exercise when they ride, and this is something that will do that. And if you need more power, you could definitely do the throttle if you want, but honestly, controlling it without the throttle, with just the torque sensor and the pedal assist, that felt really, really good. This is something that I would definitely take if I want just a little bit of exercise when I get to my destination. And maybe if I'm too tired going back, I could just initiate the power with the throttle. And so that's really cool. You got the integrated rear rack over here, so you could definitely use it to run errands and to carry some cargo, some light cargo. It's only 50 pounds. We've reviewed plenty of bikes like this, and it's not like anything is just like blowing my mind, but I do appreciate how all the parts fit together. I do appreciate all the little details, the presentation of it, the packaging, everything was really solid. I've heard of Velowave before, but this is the first time I've reviewed a bike from them. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what other offerings they have in the future.
Overall, the Velowave Swift M is a solid all-terrain commuter with plenty of features that make it a great option for daily use. The responsive mid-drive motor and torque sensor provide a ride that feels natural and smooth, while the integrated lights, fenders, and rear rack add convenience. Just keep in mind that its lack of rear suspension and the potential for overheating are factors to consider, especially if you're planning to push it to its limits. So what do you think of the Velowave Swift M? Is it the commuter you've been looking for, or do you want more? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.